Welcome to another edition of the Goalpost. I'm your host, Oluwamayowa. I'm not alone. I have two big names in the building. I don't know if they had an interesting Champions League, or they are like Manchester United that is nowhere to be found in the Champions League. I have Temiloluwa and Kiki this morning. Temiloluwa, good morning. How are you doing, Temiloluwa?
Yeah, good morning. I'm doing good. I'm fine. It's nice to be back.
Finally you are back. I know your team. I know your team was dumped out of the Champions League, but maybe we get to talk about that. Kiki, how are you doing? I can see that you are smiling. Maybe your own team was successful yesterday.
We did well. We did well. On to the quarterfinals. Sporting next. So let's see how that goes.
From the local scene, there's been a whole lot that has been going on from the local scene. We start with the HL situation. I mean, the NFF has come out, according to reports, that they're in conversations with HL and they are willing to pay $100,000. However, there has been revelation as regards what HL requirements are, what its demands are. One of the demands is that the $100,000 he wants to get is for the $1,000 is insisting on getting is for him to be able to pay his staff. And one of the conditions he wants to go with now is that he doesn't want any of our local coaches. I mean, a lot of people have said this is more of the NFF negotiating from a point of weakness, not from a point of strength. And remember, the same NFF has come out to say they will not be able to meet the 19-point agenda. So, let me start with you, Kiki. What do you make of this particular news?
Wow. Starting with the banger. Look, Nigerian football, let's lay all our cards on the table. Nigerian football administratively has been in the dumps for a while. We get by, with good performances and here and there, flashes of quality. But football is not just one on the pitch; it's also one in the back rooms and in boardrooms. So, what are the coaches and their staff doing, and what are the administrators, particularly NFF, what are they doing? Now, Eric Shell demanding 130,000 to pay members of his staff. That sends alarm bells ringing in my head very loudly. Why? NFF, can we afford $130,000? I don't know the books of NFF. I can't say. I'm not in a position to say. But this should have been handled internally. There is no reason for the coach to come out or for us to know that there is a bidding war or a wage war between Eric Shell and his camp and the NFF. If, and this is a big if adequate infrastructure was in place, all the equipment were taken care of, the proper administrative processes were in place, Eric Shell would probably not feel the need to demand that amount in order to compensate his staff. I hope you understand the arguments that I'm making. NFF should have some of the infrastructure in place to ensure that the coaches and their staff are able to carry out their jobs effectively. AHL shouldn't have to demand monetary compensation for things that ordinarily should be NFF's responsibility. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I can understand his demand, right? He has staff, he has people he has to take care of. If they're going to come into this job with him, I mean, he said sink or swim, right? I can't ask you to leave what you are doing to come in under conditions that are probably uncertain. And we'll deal with this when we talk about Iwobi, because it's the same story, just in two different camps, right? This is on NFF. This shouldn't happen. Give the man what he's asking for and save face, right? Now, there is another aspect of this that I don't like.
Okay.
And Erichel and the NFF have said the same thing. Erichel does not want any local coaches, and the NFF have said if they cannot reach an agreement with Erichel, they will also not hire domestically. That's bad. That's terrible for the country's image. You are trying to say, people like us, for instance, right, or people who are interested in football, who are in the ecosystem, who have the working knowledge of the game, have no place running the affairs of Super Eagles or close to the Super Eagles. It makes no sense. You're just saying that we are not good enough. And whose fault is that? If you have the necessary infrastructure and pipelines in place to create the talent that is necessary to run the NFF and the Super Eagles, we would not be in this mess. We would not have to hire a coach from Mali and pay through our noses just to keep him. Look, I respect Eric Shell. Is he a world class manager? No. The NFF have put themselves in this position and they have themselves to blame. You are negotiating from a point of weakness because your own house is not in order. So, NFF, I mean, I'm very unhappy this morning. I think you can tell from my tone. Eric Shell and the Iwobi situation. No, I'm unhappy because it's bad for Nigeria.
True.
It's bad for our image, it's bad for NFF, it's bad all around. It stinks and it stinks to the high heavens. So get your house in order and do the right thing, NFF.
Okay, and that's fantastic. Temiloluwa, I mean, you've heard the whole lot that Kiki has said. Do you think the NFF is negotiating from a point of weakness? I mean, this guy has 1 year left on his contract, and if we are a thinking country, we should have locked HL down on a longer contract. That's number one. Number two, the NFF has come out that they cannot meet the 19-point agenda, and another critical thing is this. Ericha has said he doesn't want any of our local coaches in his camp. Don't you think that's a slap on the face of our local coaches? Don't you think Ericha is asking for too much, or do you think what Ericha is asking is appropriate, Temiloluwa?
Okay, so let me first start with my wonderful analyst here, Kiki. He said something very, very intriguing. I'll hold on to that. You see, the NFF administration or administrative rules are being run by people that don't know what they're doing. We shouldn't be in a point whereby Eric Tell should be the one dictating what he wants, what he doesn't want, if everybody knows their role. Now, the work of the glass house, because I believe in the glass house, they should be administrative experts in this regard, and they should be negotiators. You understand? So if you are bringing a coach in, okay, this and this are the terms and conditions of this role. You understand? So we shouldn't be putting ourselves in a position whereby the coach has to dictate, this is what I want. It's just due to bad administrative running, like Kiki has said. And I think when the structure is as bad as that, I can't really blame Eric for bringing in all those demands, for putting in all those demands, for putting all of those things. You understand? So now the NFF has to dance to his tune if they want to retain a coach of his caliber. Because the problem now is if Eric Chell goes, now the whole circle starts from the beginning again. And him not adding any Nigerian indigenous coach or Nigerian coach to his backroom staff also still falls on the administrative side. Because I think whoever pays the piper dictates the tune. So I think if our administrative officers, our chief negotiators in the glass house had done their job, he would definitely not be in a position to say he doesn't want a domestic staff, or he doesn't want a Nigerian staff in his setup. You understand? So I can't really blame him for saying all of that. He's just trying to be secure on his own part, trying to bring in his own people, trying to bring in his own experts. But then it is the NFF, like Kiki said, the rot it is just so very disheartening that it is the whole world that is seeing all of this wrongly ruled administration, and it's very, very painful that Nigeria are in this position. Okay. But as I said earlier, one is in Eric's court.
I mean, let me stay with you, Temiloluwa, and I will go back to Kiki before we wrap this up. The thing is this: don't you think the quality of the Nigerian coaches that we have is not at par? Let's say, for just a scenario, let's say we fire a Tell today. Who is the Nigerian coach that you think is capable to handle our national team? We saw what Finidi George did when he came in. The team, was disastrous. Under Eguavon, the team did not also do well. Don't you think it's because of the quality of the Nigerian coaches that we have? And even our league at the moment, you will be aware that our league is currently 12th in Africa. That means we have other 11 countries that are better than us. So is that not an indication that our league is not good enough, and the coaches we have in the league, they are not suitable enough? A league whereby it's always home team that wins. You can never get wins away. Don't you think that's the reason why Egchel is saying this, or do you think it's just more of an arrogance for Egchel?
Can I speak to
You
this?
see,
No, after Temilola, yeah, Temilola, please go ahead.
Temilola, please go ahead.
okay, you see this. I think Eric has been in the football world for a very long time, so he knows what is wrong and what is not wrong. You understand? So looking at our league, you can't really blame Eric when you even look at the way Mr. Mariwa has analyzed the whole thing. If you were Eric, you wouldn't really look into the league, considering the fact that the league it has not grown the way we expect it to be. You understand? So in a league that, like you said, home team wins every time, how would you know the strength of the managers? There's no how you know the strength of the managers in a league that is not so very conducive. But then we cannot rule out the fact that we still have some masterminds in it, in like Felix Ilechukwu and the likes. You understand? These men have this at least tactical know-how. Let's be honest with ourselves. But then you just tend to wonder, can they take the pressure of handling Nigeria? We saw Finidi crumble under pressure, and in fact, it is very, very disheartening that I don't know if it is a psychological something that we believe so much in foreign coaches than the indigenous coaches, regardless of who the indigenous coach is. We just believe anybody that is not a Nigerian can handle Nigeria properly, and it is a problem. Maybe it is a psychological problem, maybe it is a stigma, or maybe it is just the reality we live in. We never can say. But then I just feel if the NFF are actually doing their job, to be honest with you, we have grassroots coaches that can do this work. Nobody actually knew Eric, you understand? But Mali gave him a chance. Just from nowhere, Mali gave him a chance. We have these people inside of us, but the problem is, do we trust them? Would we trust them? Would we give them everything they need to actually function well? Would we give them that backing when things go south? You understand? Will we give them that backing ahead of player power? These are the questions that we need to ask ourselves. But this is Nigeria. Unless a foreign coach comes in, I think there would always be that sense of player power. There will always be that sense of lack of backing from the NFF and the like. So yeah. I think Kiki wants to shed more light on this.
Kiki, please go ahead.
Yeah, I do. And the problems we are speaking to, these problems go beyond football. I want that to be very, very clear. The problems of Nigerian football are not just problems of Nigerian football. They are problems of Nigeria. They are social problems, they are cultural problems, they are infrastructural problems, they are value problems. That is what they are. Look, Mr. Maiwa, we are a country of 220 million people. How many NFF league games do you see full of spectators on weekends? How much money is invested into our domestic leagues? Nigerians watch more of the Premiership and La Liga and SerieA and Bundesliga than our own league. We spend more money on foreign leagues than our own. Why? Our government does not treat football as social infrastructure, as a means to bring people together, as a means to galvanize our communities. That is why our league is so poor. There is no investment on the part of the government, there is no investment on the part of the people. When there is no investment on the part of the people and government, you cannot decree excellence. You have to create the conditions for it. You can't decree excellence, you have to create the conditions for it. NFF has failed, the Nigerian government has failed. Create the conditions for excellence coaches and they will be there. It is that simple, it's not rocket science. What Eric Shell is saying is, look, the conditions for the coaches that I need are not present in this country. Since the excellent coaches are not here, I will bring my own. He's a professional, he has a job to do. He's going to be paid for results. If he hires domestic coaches and they flop, his head is on the line. So do you blame him? You don't blame him. This is why I said, NFF, put your house in order. Look, sort the grassroots problems of Nigerian football first, and everything else will follow. It is not rocket science, it is common sense. Look, okay. we will perpetually be negotiating from a position of weakness until our own house is in order. End of story.
Of course.
Okay, and that's fantastic. Still sticking with Nigeria, it seems there is a whole lot that's happening with Nigeria at the moment. Iwobi over the weekend was on a podcast, and he made complaints about the kind of treatment that they get in terms of flight booking, in terms of hotel arrangement, how poorly they are being treated, and the rest of that. and has been a recurring decimal. I'll give you a typical example. The WAFCON, our Super Falcons, leading up to the last AFCON that they went to, it was a private citizen in Ogun State here, the owner of Beyond Limit, that gave them a place to train and the rest of that. And yet, these people went to win the WAFCON, and we saw the NFF president shining his teeth. The same NFF, during the last Nations Cup, it took the intervention of top Nigerian government officials to ensure that our players played the Morocco game. That Morocco game, if we had prepared adequately, we would have won. Players were protesting for money. And these are people representing our national team. And we've had a culture of, if anybody speaks out, they get banished from the team. Victor Moses was banished. Trustekong was banished. A lot of these players were banished. I will start with Tiki here. Do you think this will be, we might have seen the last time Iwobi would have played for Nigeria because he decided to complain about the condition?
Look, if this is the last time he plays for Nigeria, he is definitely going out with a bang. Iwobi was one of the best players at the last AFCON. No, for real. I'm saying he was one of the best players at the last AFCON. Mr. Mayowa is smiling because you know it's true.
Yeah, that's true.
But let's talk about the more salient issue. I said earlier that the Eric Chell issue and the Iwobi issue, they are the same issue, just in two different places. Right? They are the Nigerian issue. They are the Nigerian problem. Look, you cannot, like I said earlier, you cannot decree, you cannot force, you cannot talk and then not do anything. Structures and systems have to be put in place to support the coaches and the players. I'm sounding like a broken record at this point, and it's actually becoming annoying. Look, Iwobi had every right to say what he said. I mean, freedom of speech, right? But he made comparisons in his podcast. So he compared the systems in England and he compared the Nigerian system, right? He mentioned how the English system is structured, everything is timed, the diet is regimented, access is controlled. But in Nigeria, it is, any which way. We have a very anyhow culture in this part of the world. Look, a culture of anyhowness is not going to get you results. You have to be intentional, you have to be deliberate, and you have to make it work. He won't be saying what he said. I mean, look, at this point, I want to say kudos to him because we need big names pointing to the works in our administration. We produced 2 of the last 3 African footballers of the year with terrible systems in place. Imagine what would happen if Nigeria had the kind of systems and infrastructure of a Germany, a Spain, and England, a France. Teams that perpetually churn out teams that make it to the quarterfinals, semi-finals, and finals of the World Cup. We can do it. So what is our problem? What is the problem of the NFF? They should put their heads out from wherever they are heading is in the sand. I'm just going to be live. I don't want to use some industrial language. No, it is annoying. Honestly, it is annoying. Look, it will be fair play to him. He has shed blood for the Super Eagles. I mean, at this point, nobody can question his dedication to the national team. It's only fair that he speaks out and he points to some of the issues that are there. Honorable Ibrahim Gusau of the NFF, if you ever watch this, please, do something about the problems in our football. I mean, this has gone on long enough. We cannot continue to be the laughing stock of the international community.
Okay, and that's fantastic. So before I come to you, I was watching a podcast of JJ Okocha talk about Atlanta 96. It was a documentary about Atlanta 96. And one of the things JJ Okocha said in that particular documentary was that at some particular point at Atlanta 96, the hotel they were lodged in, they were just giving them rice every day. And they decided to ask the hotel management, why are we eating rice every day? And they said, your country has not paid money. And some of them had to use their personal card to pay for their own comfort. And this is about, and we're in 2026 now, this is about 30 years ago. And Iwobi, after 30 years, is complaining about the same thing. Don't you think this is a systemic issue? Don't you think there is a need for this to be addressed? I'm also still staying on that. If the Super Eagles are complaining, what about the other teams, the age grade teams? the under 17 they go to camp, their camp allowance is 1,500. So how do you think we can move forward, Temiloluwa?
You see, one of the problems that we have as a country, Nigeria as a country, is lack of accountability. So until when we address that lack of accountability, I don't think we are going to be growing anytime soon. It's actually very disheartening that in this century, in this era where they're already making robots, we are still talking about unpaid fees, unpaid this, unpaid that. Kudos to Iwobi. I actually like the fact that it was Iwobi that came out to talk and not Osimhen. Because if it was Osimhen, there would have been a lot of backlash. But for the fact that it is Iwobi, they know Iwobi has dual citizenship. Iwobi has seen a system that works. And he has seen that it is not rocket science. It is not something difficult that you can't replicate in your country to what is going on. So I say it is lack of accountability because inevitably money is being pumped into NFF. Sometimes some of this money, somebody somewhere, or somewhere. You know, I think we understand where we are going. So it's just lack of accountability. You know, we are going live, so it's just lack of accountability. You understand? It's just so very painful that in this era, like Kiki said, we've produced wonderful players. We've produced Osimhen, we've produced Lukman, we've produced someone like Basi. These are wonderful players. I told somebody that in Africa, Nigeria has the best squad, but the most unfunctional system. We have the best squad, but the most unfunctional system, and which is very, very painful. Good job to Iwobi, like you said. It is not even only in the sports sector. It is every area, every aspect of Nigeria. When you come outside to say the truth, you become the enemy of the public. You become the enemy of just everybody because you came out to say the truth. So if he's penalized for that, if they don't call him, now we go suffer around because we don't get any other midfielder where they throw that kind of pass. Recently, he has become that kind of Pelo, Iniesta, you understand? He has become our De Bruyne. So if we decide that, okay, because he has come out to say the truth, we are just shooting ourselves in the leg. We are still trying to manage them, we are shooting ourselves in the leg again. You understand? So I just feel like all we need to do, you understand, is just accountability. Accountability will make you know those that are competent and those that are not competent. But in a system where accountability is not there, competency cannot be questioned. You understand? Competency cannot be questioned. And I just hope that maybe at some point in time, maybe one day when the sun shines, our NFF will realize that they need to do things better. And it is also affecting our grassroots. The Nigerian under-17 boys used to be in fact, they are the go-to guys when it comes to under-17 World Cup. But where are they now? They even struggle to qualify. That's to show you the decadence that is in the NFF setup. You understand? That it's just very, very disheartening because when we talk about Osimhen, we talk about Iheanacho, we talk about these guys came from our under-17 setup. Now ask yourself, where's our under-17 setup? We are even talking about the first team. Where's our under-17 setup? Where is our under-17 setup? And it's just so very, very disheartening that, and he won't be saying the truth, but some people will look at him like it's because he's okay, it's because he's fine. No, he is okay and he can keep short. But for the fact that he's okay and he's talking means that he's a patriotic Nigerian and he's being pained at how things are being run. You understand? Yes, these players have the money, they can fund themselves throughout the tournament, but no, they are representing the country. In as much as fund has been allocated to the catering of the player, you understand? I think it should be put into that context. But the bottom line, my point is, I think it's gotten to a point where NFF need to be held accountable. Whoever is in charge need to be held accountable. Accountability should be the core of NFF. And accountability should be the core of Nigeria as a whole. And I think from there we'll be going forward and then.
Let me shock you guys. I appear on some other platform and I'm one that criticizes the NFF. I've gotten text messages telling me that I don't know what I'm talking about from people in the class.
Exactly.
It's as bad as that. Anytime you call out the inadequacies that we are seeing, I mean, you get
they come after you. You become the enemy.
They come after you. I hope you guys will not get text messages and warning you.
I will block them. I don't have time for nonsense. I don't have time for nonsense.
I hope you guys will not get text messages warning you to stay off the NFF. But I mean, the truth has to be said. No matter whose odds are go, it's disgraceful that we have players after 30 years complaining basically about the same thing. It doesn't make any logical sense, and that should not be the case. But in any case, let's move over to where things are done properly. In a land where they will not hold players, in a land where if you deserve something better, they will give it to you. In a land where
the sporting structure is set in place.
Yeah.
By the way, before we move over to Europe,
yes,
I mean, let's not treat Nigeria like we are isolated. We saw the breaking news from CAF yesterday.
Yes, true.
So just to point out, that it's also a continent-wide problem, right?
It's a continental something. Yes.
We are not serious. When we are serious, we will know. Please continue.
I wanted to talk about the CAF issue, but it's still fresh, and there's still a whole lot of back and forth on it.
We can talk about it as a future podcast.
Until when we get a response from Senegalese, that's when we'll be able to take a position. But however, personally, if I give my opinion, I think it doesn't make any sense. I think CAF finally caved to Morocco, and I've said it constantly on other platforms that I appear on, that Morocco is holding CAF hostage, and the decision is, that decision is an indication. How do you wait 2 months after to strip Senegal out of it? If I were Senegalese, I would go to CAF.
Explain it.
Yeah.
I think we need proper explanation, but it is where.